Hello, people of the internet. My name is JD Shadow. So, I had recorded the next episode of Miraculous Ladybug for my reaction series, and the episode entitled Animaestro, which is the next one you're going to see, was a excellent episode, and you're going to see my reaction to it. A reaction or something like that. A reaction? I guess so. Anywho, everything turned out okay as far as I was aware when I went to record it. Unfortunately, when I went to put it into my video editor, I have found out that something went wrong with the microphone. And because of that, my voice became sort of distorted. Now, this was at the beginning of the video, and as it progressed through the video, it kind of cleared itself out to a point, but it still didn't sound as well as I usually have it. Now, there's a few theories that I have came up with as to how this happened, because from what I gather, OBS was perfect. I had turned down the volume to where I could edit things in post-production. I usually are able to do that. However, either the headset microphone came on and my usual microphone went off, or, and this is something that I have found out that Windows did, was to turn the microphone volume, the recording volume, all the way up to 100. And I'm not quite sure why Windows 10 decided to do that. I didn't mess with that setting at all, so it is kind of weird that for whatever reason the microphone settings went crazy, and it's because of that you're going to hear a bit of distortion when you go to watch this reaction. I did try to clean this up as best I could in post-production, but it is really hard to undo distortion without completely redoing the entire video. And when you have a video series that is set on the first reaction, your first natural reaction when viewing a clip, and this is one of those episodes where you have to see the person's reaction in order to understand how good the episode was, because this was a good episode, and just how reactions are to begin with, the very nature of them, it is really hard to justify being able to go back and re-record stuff. I know a few reactors have done that. I know a few reactors have gone back and kind of like touched up on a few things to make sure everything was okay, but at the same time, they didn't have this problem. So I want to warn people who are using headphones, you're probably going to hear some of that definitely in the first part. As it progresses, it does clear itself out in a way, but it still is distorted. It is not unlistenable, it's not unwatchable by any stretch of imagination. You can definitely understand what I'm saying as it pertains to what's going on screen, and of course, anybody who is yelling out what's going on is going to be distorted because of the naturality of how microphones tend to handle that sort of thing. But as the intro to this was very bad to where I thought of re-recording at least that part, I decided to instead do this, to where I'm just talking to you about what you're about to see. Now, I do apologize to those people who think that this is kind of a cop-out, or that I didn't know what I was doing at the time, because it was something that I wasn't aware of until I went to do it. According to OBS, all the levels were okay, and maybe you could blame me for not checking my sound levels before I went to record. Maybe I should do that in the future, but that's too late now to talk about. So please forgive the audio issues that are going to be present in this episode. I will definitely have that cleared up by the time you watch next week's episode, if I get to next week's episode, because again, all sorts of real life stuff, you know how it is with YouTubers these days. I'll be willing, I'll probably be there next week as well, so there you go. One thing it did say about the Netflix order when it pertains to my intro, what I said was that for the most part it is in order. However, there are a few episodes I've been told that I should wait to watch until the second part of the season comes out, because I'm not sure what they're thinking. I keep thinking maybe this is the order that they actually wanted the episodes in. I don't know why that is, but for the most part, Netflix seemed to do it good this time around, albeit with a few hiccups here and there, and the showing of one of the last episodes of the season as a episode in part 1, which I'm not sure why that is. So in any event, here we go. This is going to be Animaestro, and it is a excellent episode. I implore you to go watch it yourself and just be amazed about what it is they did here. And again, I do apologize for the audio issues that you are going to hear. Once you hear them, you will understand what I am talking about, and keep in mind that the intro to that video was 10 times worse than what you are hearing right now. So in that sense, let's get to it. This is my reaction to Season 3, Part 1, Episode 2, Animaestro. Let's get to it. Hey, whoa! I'm Anime! Anime Katora, I would so be into that, although this looks like it was written by Akira Toriyama, which I would not. Thomas!
Adrien's gonna be there.
Well, there you go. There's a reason. You're.
So we've got.
She's going there.
Premiere of the Ladybug and Cat Noir animated movie?
Yes.
me! I can totally help you out with that.
As
Wow.
a server?
Yes, I'll hand the macarons
Nope.
out to Adrien.
Nope, nope.
To everybody, of course, not just Adrien, because
Wow, she's got some reflexes.
And the fact that Adrien is going to be there has nothing to do with it, of course.
Not
It has everything to do with it, and you should not. What does that look like to you?
I love.
You're hired. We'll just.
Thank you.
We'll just be very, very careful. We'll just serve paper plates.
Just make twice the number of macaroons, just in case.
And cover everything in rubber.
Don't you think your father's 800 macaroons will
That
be plenty?
looks like a hamburger.
Cheeky,
That
800
completely looks like a hamburger.
And he says to me, is this why you bake a single macaroon every Sunday? Who knows when the perfect opportunity is going to come up? And
One macaroon every, one candy hamburger.
Of course not.
Don't be bemused, it's just
I have
news.
nothing.
Nadia Shamak for the brand new animated movie The Adventures of Cat Noir and Ladybug.
Akira Toriyama. Oh no, Nightingale!
Has just
Yeah, I'm Thomas Astruck, the movie director.
You filmed Cat Noir and Ladybug?
He created the damn dice!
That's $1 for the swear jar.
Whatever. Who would want to see Ladybug and Cat Noir as cartoon characters?
Yes. We'll put them
This
on.
is so self-insertion.
I am totally ready. Trust me.
And she looks really cool in that outfit. Wow. I like her hair.
Down, boy!
And what? And she could trip over her own 2 feet.
Well, screenwriters wrote the story, inspired by Ladybug's exploits.
Oh, okay. So you did all the drawings?
No, the animators do all the drawings.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well,
Whoa!
Whoa.
Marinette, she even designed my album cover.
Although she sawed the Eiffel Tower and have to do that. Is Thomas the one that's gonna get akumatized?
What's special to me? Oh, I'll never get it right.
You haven't gotten it right in the past 2 seasons. How you expect it to start now?
Fetch me a chocolate macaron, but make sure it's dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. Got that?
but I'm not a waiter. I'm the movie director.
So you're the one responsible. And you were the one who left Queen Bee out of the trailer.
Yeah, how dare you?
Utterly lame.
Utterly ridiculous.
What are you thinking?
Oh, this is getting kicked around more than a soccer ball.
Skins just know her. I despise her. What do you think you're doing,
Who is it?
sitting next to
Ka-
my Adrien? That's my seat.
Kagami.
Don't ever touch me again. Don't ever speak to me again. Don't ever look at me again.
Dang! You sick burn. Oh, by the way, Marinette kind of likes her too. She actually looks more sinister the last time we saw her. Oh. Oh man! Oh, what's the?
No, a seat chart at the theater.
No theater looks like that. No theater has that kind of seating chart.
Well, today the evil is her, and the good people.
I actually agree with this.
Not too sure. Japan? There's no way. You think they're already going to the movies together? Their parents are signing papers together.
How are they gonna? What?
We can't let her do that.
There's nothing wrong with Japan. I mean, Your soul sister Kim Possible did it once.
With Chloe. And do I look like someone who knows anything about cooking?
Nope.
Hey, wait.
You don't know anything about cooking anything. What the heck?
Now, Adrien will be eating sushi for the rest of his life.
Nothing's wrong with sushi. Ew. Why does that look like a Batman logo on his patch?
Me, Mom and Dad, but it's for a good cause.
Sit down. I'll help you.
Oh no! Oh no!
Then you didn't do anything.
And he's gonna sit right on the cake. And the macaroon gets eaten by him. What is the... What the...
What's happened? What in the... What is that?
Oh boy!
What this can...
Well, there comes your accumulation. Thanks for coming.
Behind this the perfect
This is really cool. This gotta be like some, like, creator love. This has gotta be not part of the canon. I guess not. The glass slippers. And...
Adrien. That is ridiculous.
Utterly ridiculous.
Who are you? You can't come in.
You really think
Well, you didn't get to prove anything. That is a great looking.
Never guess.
He just laughed you. I don't know.
I promise I'll never take Chloe's advice again.
Why did you do that in the first place? She probably is just as clumsy as you are. Although I'm loving this Akuma. She's turning everything into an anime.
We'd have come.
At all.
You haven't even seen the movie and you're already slamming it.
He does have a point.
I like the mixture of the art style. I'm loving this.
I am the only true hero.
Why do you have to Mickey Mouse voice and a black hole gag?
How do you beat a 2D character?
The only thing that doesn't change when he transforms is his cartoon.
Oh wow!
How about you fear the power of the
This is the same thing as the chameleon. They changes
camera?
Shapeshifter.
Make a movie about
I like the different styles of animation here.
Everything okay down there?
Not really. And the entire Akuma is differently animated as well.
Something must have happened that we didn't see, which explains why the Lucky Charm was a camera.
In the sky, looking at you, I can read your mind.
Just like a movie. If nobody watches it, it's as if it didn't exist.
Now we know how to defeat it.
My Little Pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. My Little Pony.
You can play the smart aleck cat, but once I have your Miraculous, everyone will forget about you soon enough.
What the voice is that? Kamehameha!
Hadouken!
Not look at Animaestro. Turn off your screen. Come on, we need each
He crashed his... Oh! What the hell? Oh my god, are you kidding me, Sailor Moon? What? Oh, Lunatic Gate would love this episode. You cannot wait to see what her reaction would have been. Oh, oh, that alone.
must watch. No more evil doing for you, little Akuma.
I would have watched that for the next hour.
Time to de-evil.
That was not a long enough Akuma
Gotcha. Hi,
sequence.
little butterfly.
Hey, her eyes are gone.
Victory.
because as in all the best tragedies, triumph always comes before failure.
Only you failed too many times.
Of course I do. You're Thomas Astruck, the movie director. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
She recognized me. Somebody actually recognized me. This is the best day of my...
Okay, so that was Animaestro episode 2, season 3. And I was very impressed by how they did the animation styles in that episode. Before I go any further, let me explain to you why you're hearing just my voice and not seeing my face right now. I was thinking about re-recording the face cam portion of this in order to give a sense that it is seamless. However, in order to do that, I would have to put up the green screen again and find the same shirt that I had worn at that point in time. And it was just going to be kind of a mess in order to try to do all that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you the bullet points of what I liked and disliked about this particular episode. There was a lot to like, by the way, about this episode. The animation styles of the Akuma, which, by the way, was Thomas Astruck, which was self-insertion in the most unhumble way possible. He was the one that was akumatized. And when you saw the akumatized form, you saw squiggly lines when he went into squiggle vision for whatever reason. I actually liked that because you saw a lot of different styles, a lot of different animation styles put into the 3D realm. It seemed as though you had a Who Framed Roger Rabbit type of thing going on, where you had the 2D animation going into real life, the live action elements, and then Eddie Valiant went into Toontown, and then you saw the live action element go into animation. You had the green screen going on. Here you saw kind of something like that, but more to the effect of what they could do with putting different animated styles into the same realm as 3D animation. And this is just a marvel to look at, and I would love to know what the behind the scenes was at the making of this episode, because this was probably one of the most technically awe-inspiring episodes I've seen yet. This is probably the best episode from a technical standpoint by far when it comes to doing good animation and showing off what they can actually do. I don't think it's going to be canon because you have the self-insertion of Thomas Astruck there, and it does seem as though that he was trying to put out some of his feelings for the show and some of his personal grievances or maybe personal accomplishments and stuff like that into this particular episode, where maybe he really still wants to do that original aspect of Miraculous Ladybug that he wanted to do, which was a more darker, a more teen-oriented show as opposed to the kid-friendly show that we see now. Not saying that it's not great or anything like that, it obviously is, but if you think about it, that's what he originally wanted to do, and maybe he's showing that maybe he still wants to do that. Maybe he still wants to have a chance to make that more teen-oriented show that he really wanted to do, and I would be more open to seeing something like that. I really want to see what he can come up with. Maybe something that's not Ladybug, and maybe something that's outside of the universe, or maybe a spin-off or something like that that's aimed at a older crowd maybe, or maybe at a different demographic than Ladybug is right now. All that being said, it's just the way that he implemented all these different styles and how Zagtoons put together all these different anime styles, from Magical Girl to Dragon Ball Z to superhero DC and Marvel. There was even a Magical Girl transformation sequence a la Sailor Moon, which I'm wondering if he's a fan. So there is that. I really enjoyed the Akuma. This was just amazing, just how they were able to come up with all these different styles and to just insert them into Ladybug's universe. There was even a kind of Avenger time like thing with the Godzilla creature that came up at the beginning. Don't think for a second that I didn't catch that either. So this was technically a great episode, though I'm not sure if it's going to be canon or not. We will wait and see. The other major thing that appeared in this episode was Chloe was back, and her and Marinette was doing doing this sort of plan in order to get Adrien away from Kagami, who, by the way, has reappeared. We haven't seen her since the skating, since Frozer, and let's just say that something tells me we are going to see her be more of an antagonist than anything else, and she was really antagonist for Chloe. Had you seen that scene in which she said, "Don't look at me, don't touch me, don't speak to me, don't even think about me"? Okay then, maybe that's gonna be like Lila, who is somebody we're going to be hating, and yeah, that tells me that we are going to see maybe both Lila and Kagami be more antagonistic. I've heard definitely Lila's going to be more hated, but what about Kagami? I do like the fact that they are starting to build a little bit more on other villains that will test Marinette and her friends, or maybe her anti-friends or frenemies or something like that, whatever you want to call Chloe right now. And I'll get to that in just a second, because there's a little bit of a con that I'm having with her right now. But I do like the fact that they are building up other villains, seemingly, that are not Hawkmoth, who are those that can challenge her without going back to the Hawkmoth formula, which to me, it seems like at some point we're going to need to have some kind of resolution to where it can't be him all the time being the villain. And that's why I do hope that this is a sign of things to come, that Lila can stand on her own 2 feet and not have to worry about Hawkmoth giving her powers in order to do what she wants to do. And then of course Kagami now, who seems to be someone we should be hating. And did they change her face this time? Because I didn't recognize her at first. It just seemed as though they altered her face a bit in order to maybe show how much of a villain she's going to be, because I didn't really recognize her. Like, she has more freckles than she used to. I don't remember her having them. Maybe someone's going to correct me on that, or scold me for the fact that, oh, they have Kagami have a problem with her face. But I like the fact that Chloe and Marinette seem to be able to work as a team, and for the amount of frenemies that they are, for the amount of things like, oh, we can't stand one another, they got excellent chemistry, both in season 2 and now here. They seem to have great chemistry with one another. For people who don't like each other, they seem to have a great bit of comedic timing and a lot of, I don't want to use the word chemistry again, but that's what it is. That's the only word I can think of in order to describe it. I can't think of any other adjective to use with it. Great chemistry there. But did anybody think that the plan was not going to backfire? I don't know what made people think that was going to work with all the complications that the plan had and how complicated the steps of the plan was. So yeah, I don't know if that is something they should have thought was going to work. Now, there is a con to this though, and I want to bring up something that could be a problem going forth. But first of all, one minor con is that the Akuma itself, we've been having quite a few recently that have been using the shape-shifting mechanic. And for what it's worth, I kind of like that, but it might keep getting a little overused, copycat maybe. And I've heard somebody say, yes, it is a long time ago since we've seen something like that. But this is the second episode in a row now that we've seen that. We've seen Chameleon with Lila, and now Animaestro. This same shape-shifting thing might be something they might not want to do for the next episode, and hopefully they don't, because I would love to see a Akuma have a different type of power or different style of power. But it's kind of a minor thing. But the more major thing I want to talk about is that right now we're not quite sure where Chloe stands on the face heel spectrum here on that meter. And right in the moment, I said this in the review for the initial video that had the audio problems, but I figured that Chloe Bourgeois is the Alexa Bliss of Ladybug, because the WWE doesn't really know whether or not Alexa's going to be heel or face. I've been wanting her to be a face for some time, and right in the moment she's teetering between the two, and I don't quite get what they want her to be, and neither does anybody else. I feel as though more people want Alexa to be babyface than they want for Roman Reigns to be heel, and that's just me, but I feel as though that's a thing. But when it comes to Chloe, I do believe they don't really know where in that spectrum they want her to be, and they did have her say we can't be a team or something along those lines, but I don't know what whether or not that's something that's going to be played on down the road, because again, I'm not sure if this is going to be canon or not because of the self-insertion. But I do feel as though after what happened in season 2 that we are supposed to be more sympathetic to her character and not antagonistic to her. So what was that all about? I hope they're not going to revert, they're not going to retcon that, because I do believe there's just so much you can get out of the character at that point after you've delved into her backstory like you have. So for them to start trying to revert her back kind of sets me off on that. Plus, keep in mind that she's Queen Bee right now, and for all intents and purposes, unless they change up who gets the Queen Bee Miraculous when it's needed, that she's going to be Queen Bee down the road, something doesn't sit right with me on that. And they really need to tell us where she's going to be on the side of the heel face, because one of my things also is that when Lila is starting to say, Marinette, I'm going to take away everything you hold dear, or your friendships, you're not going to have any more friends, or whatever she said in episode 1, one of my theories was that maybe Chloe is the one who's going to see through that, because she has been doing what Lila's doing now, although Lila's doing a much better job at it right in the moment. And one of my fears is also that they're going to do this thing where Marinette has like really no more friends, and she's going to lose all of her friends, all of her good standing or good relationships with people, and then she might actually get akumatized. We've seen Akumaed target her a few times, so maybe this is the season we'll get it. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to see it go down that road, have that be the reason, because I don't know how worn out a trope like that is, and also that would go against my theory here. And that would say, why are you turning Chloe back to being a heel character? Why are you changing her back when we had all that sympathetic feelings for her? So I hope that's not where they're going, and I would love to see her go full on babyface. Again, she seems to be the Alexa Bliss right now of this, where she should be babyface, but they don't know what to do with her. So yeah, there's that. As far as the pros and cons, again, the Akuma was absolutely amazing. This was one of the best Akumas I think they came up with yet. Only thing I don't think is going to be canon, which might be okay, but again, there were just so many things which I wish could still be there. We don't know whether or not it's going to be canon or not, because this is self-insertion. We got to see Thomas in his own show, his own creation, which is amazing, and all those different animation styles that they used and put into the same universe as a 3D animated film, a 3D CGI rendered cartoon. Wow, how wonderful that looked. I would love to see a behind the scenes look of that. And of course, the chemistry between Chloe and Marinette really showed here for people who are seemingly frenemies. They seem to have some great chemistry. They seem to work well together. But that leads me to one major con and one little con, which a little con is, of course, this is the second time in a row we've seen a shape-shifting type Akuma. Hopefully this is not a trend to where they're running out of ideas. I said that on the Chameleon episode, but again, that was while Copycat was in season 1. Now we're to a point where this is the second time in a row we've seen a Akuma that's been having that sort of mechanic, so hopefully they come up with something different next time. Also, this might not be canon, but again, that's okay. The big thing here right now is that where is Chloe going to be on that face heel spectrum? And hopefully it is the right decision here, because with all the different types of sympathetic feelings we have for her after season 2, it's gonna be hard for us to root against Chloe in season 3 now that we know more about her and her backstory and how things are with her. And plus, her being Queen Bee and all, why do you want us to root against her? So hopefully that changes. Hopefully that's something that they don't do. And with that being said, that is going to do it for this reaction. Again, I do apologize greatly for the sound issues that came about during the actual reaction. That rhymed. And hopefully I'll be willing that doesn't show up with the next reaction. I hope that this was a good workaround to all of this. this, there is a few things I want to bring up before I go. First things first, please go hit subscribe. Please ring the bell for more geek gaming culture. You know how this works. When I make a new video, when I upload a new video, you'll get notified of the new content. Also, I wanted to bring this up because I do believe that this is going to be something that you guys can do. I've been looking for other kind of Miraculous Ladybug type backdrops for the green screen. You saw on my video that I still use the Paris backdrop that is the render thing. But what about maybe the classroom, maybe Akumaed's lair or something like that? If anybody can find those for me, because I can't seem to find them anywhere, please don't hesitate to show them to me if I use it. If I go and use it, I will be the first person to credit you for finding it for me. I will credit you in the video. So there's that incentive to go and look for those things, because hey, you might get mentioned. You might have 15 minutes of fame with JD, and there might be other ways that you can get mentioned down the road. Maybe a Patreon coming up soon to be able to support me even further. And I don't know what kind of rewards I would give for something like that, but it's something I have been considering. I do have a Patreon account up, but I don't really advertise it that much, if at all. So maybe that's something that we can do down the road, and hopefully you guys will help me out on that, because every little bit helps. Of course, it's never necessary, it's never a requirement to watch the videos. However, it is very much appreciated, never required. I do appreciate that you guys stay with me, even when we have those problems like I've had with this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Again, hit the bell. Please leave a comment down below about what you thought about the episode, and if you were able to survive, if your ears were able to survive the distortion. Until next time, my name is JD Shadow, and that just happened.